Good morning. How are you this morning? I think you can tell by the picture on the promo for this video that it's kind of like, wow, things are going on out there. And I wanted to talk about it. And I'm going to change things up a little bit. Same discussion, same information, but I'm going to sort of run a series of cards and not spend a lot of time introducing them, but more sort of the visuals so you can get an idea of what it is that I'm actually talking about as we go along. So, first and foremost, I'm really glad you're here. Super happy. Today, we're going to talk about the space in between, which is what happens when we're shifting from one place to the other. And the card that reminds me the most of this is the Osho Zen 2 of Swords, which is, like you're not in this place anymore. You haven't quite gotten to this place. You don't have the momentum to get over there yet, or you don't know how. And the answer in this card is always to sort of let go and go where you're being called to go energetically, right? So I don't really like, I'm not, this is out of all of the cards, I think that the name schizophrenia on this card is the least appropriate because Two of Swords is at a decision point, and I like that decision point. I don't like associating that with any kind of disturbance of mental stability, right? So let's just cover that up and let's go for the imagery. Like a lot of us are right here, right now, where we're not at the end of something, and we're not fully ended, and we're not fully beginning. And so when you go from to the definition of space in between, it's like shifting from one to the other. It's an intermediate spot. It's temporary, and it's part of stages. And these stages haven't really all come into form yet. You're just sort of going along for the ride. So it makes us vulnerable. We're between old things that we liked that are no longer working and new things that haven't really taken form yet, or we like them, but they're very different, or we don't know what to do with them. Sometimes we're a little scared, sometimes we're a little hopeful. For me personally, I'm in that space in between. My old coaching practice of working exclusively with parents is over here, in this new energy of relationships, of vibration, of understanding how to move in vibration easier is not taking form yet, right? So you go and you just keep breathing, and you go, this is what I do. This is I've always done it anyway, right? Through parent coaching, just sort of mask the words and the communications. Now I'm just a little bit more out there, but I understand this space in between. So first, on describing the space in between, I listened to Susie Miller. She runs a New World Portal. Highly recommend it. And every Monday morning, we do an integrational call as a collective group, right? She describes the space between the heart and the solar plexus. So this is the heart, the beautiful heart, and here's the solar plexus, right? And it's right, if you were to go to the point of where your rib cage comes up, that little indent right in there, just right above the solar plexus and below the heart, is what she calls the space in between. And so what that is it's the separation where we as physical beings sort of go up into our head, and our heart keeps us going, our throat can constrict, our mind can be active all the time, and we can just shut down our third eye and our crown, but we're just navigating. And so that space in between is also that ability to sort of go down into the solar plexus, into the sacral, into the root chakra and ground. And we're going to talk a little bit about that more later. Because when we can take these two and go from heart to solar plexus and blend them, hold them side by side, partner them, then what happens is our breath becomes, our breathing is a tool to regulate our nervous system, and our life starts to sort of like fully embody, which is what we want to do, right? So examples of current things that you might be experiencing in this space in between. Number one, old institutions that that used to work aren't functioning anymore. The new visions haven't taken form. So whether it's in our education system, our medical system, our political system, our taxes, I mean everything. Yeah, we're still doing what we've always done, but we don't know why anymore, right? So that's the first one. The second one is that we have kids, that the systems are our entire world is set up for kids to be in schools from September to May, and beginning, middle, or end of May, sometimes even starting in August, right? So for 9 months out of the year, from 9 to 3 or 8:30 to 3 or 8 to 3, our kids are in school, right? So we have this entire daily expectation of our children, yet this isn't what they want. What they're looking at is there's another whole way to do world out there, but I'm confined behind these things. This is what I'm really looking for, is another way to follow that rainbow and get out there, right? So our kids don't want that system, but that's what our entire world and work and daycare and purchasing houses and homes, everything's about. But our kids are telling us we want something different, right? Um, we have lost our desires to carry some of the things that we used to. I love this word, the burden. We're carrying maybe the house that we thought we really needed, the car payments, the marriage, the relationship, the roles that we're playing, the lifestyles, the foods that we eat, the jobs that we have. And there's no real clear path forward, but we're really exhausted from what's going on. Does that make sense? Can you feel that one? Whew. That one's a big one with my clients. And we're not really taking sides anymore. Number 4, we can't, whether it's sports, whether it's politics, whether it's arguments with friends, what we're realizing is that, there's political right and left, red and black. There's binary conversations of you're this or you're this. There's life is this or is this. And what we're realizing is more like either or, right? Either or, because we have to be able to stand side by side and say, I agree to disagree, or I love you no matter what you say. And I think somewhere in the middle, somewhere in between is where answers are right now, is where we're going. Let's just play with that and hold on to that. Another one is that, man, kids are arriving with some really powerful skills. They have this innocence, they have this light to them, they have these intelligences. And what we're noticing is that this may have been the old world that we were just asleep and sort of repetitively going through life. Now we've been through this, like, what the hell? And we're awakening and we're angry and we're frustrated. But these kids are just going, shh, it's okay, just calm down, because they have powerful skills, they have intelligences, they have desires we don't even know what to do with yet, right? The other one, the last one, is that another thing you might be feeling is that you have information. I love this card. Information coming in from really bizarre unknown spaces. You're getting synchronicities while you're driving to work. You have dreams that are so vivid and they don't make sense to you, yet you're like in another world. Your intuition is coming online and you don't have the vehicle to process this. So then this card, the way that Osho described this is your day-to-day life. And this is all of the information that keeps trying to come in. And if you look at it really closely, you notice that it's being held by two hands, and that, we open it or we close it. And so this is the kind of stuff that we're experiencing, right? Is that information is coming in and we're not really sure what to do. And we're in this sort of limbo, right? Oh man, there's a new me coming out. I don't know what to do with it. I don't even know. And it's very vulnerable. It's very scary because we're restless, we're disturbed, we're agitated. And the thing that I noticed is that we're almost insatiable. Like nothing tastes good. The things I used to do don't work anymore. I'm bored with that, but I don't know what to do because it isn't. There isn't a direction to launch yet, right? So this vulnerability is that there's things that we did, that we created, that we built our worlds around, that we anchored ourselves in. We anchored ourselves into creating a family. We anchored ourselves into owning homes. We anchored ourselves into building a career. We've anchored ourselves, and yet we might be a little embarrassed and lost because if you look at this character on the outside, they're like, I don't know what to do. I'm unanchored, and things aren't really working. The old skills aren't working for me anymore, and the new skills that are required are coming in slow. Now, let's add to that this idea that the solar flares, and that's why I keep talking about them all the time here, is that when the flares hit and the flares hit and the flares hit, they're taking our cells and giving them a burst of vitamins and energy and light, right? And then the things that these old things that we didn't want to do, this card is really good, become really old and we don't want to do them anymore. Like, oh yeah, I used to do that job. I used to like that. I used to like that role. I don't want to anymore. So these flares are really asking us for an endurance, to create a way to attach that sort of intuitive trust and peacefulness, right? This is the star card, and just sort of move. This is the Aquarian card of where we're going. So just be able to calm it all down, calm it down so that we can adapt and we can learn how to balance. Oh, solar flare today, kind of like, oh, rain today, it didn't rain today. And we just learn how to move our energy with that, right? So even those of us who have been working in the unknown for quite some time and are well trained and experienced. I've been studying all of this for 13 years. I've gone to two different mystery schools. I read and experience and explore constantly. And I can be stumped at all times when that space in between isn't working very well for me. Now, what I've noticed, and before I go on, I've got 7 tips for you. But what I've noticed before I get to those tips is that it is about energy. It's about learning how to calm down. It's about learning how to let that inner Shakti, that inner being out, and sort of start to create a world that's balanced, that is for these kids, right? So these kids, they're their future, our future. We're not just doing it for kids, we're doing it for the whole world, right? So this energy management as leadership offering. I've got 2 spots for April. So if this is like tingling you all over, give me a call, because at this point, in if we start in April, and I've got 4 spots in May, because I've got all these timings going along, right? Um, 2 spots in April, and if you start April, early May, then you can be done before the kids are out of school. You can be done before you start the summer playfulness and falderal, right? So just plug. If that's something you're interested in, drop me a message and let's talk. Okay. So tip number 1. Wow. Be vulnerable. Be absolutely vulnerable, to open to new ideas, open to anything that happens, because that vulnerability is like, I have to just keep plugging along and I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going, but at some point, that space in between, that decision is going to make is going to be made, and it will help. So being vulnerable is like opening up and saying, I need help right now. I'm creating new vision for myself, and this is what I'm asking. Hey, is this resonating with you? Like I just did by telling you about my coaching series, right? Wow. Um, the next thing is to connect the top and the bottom of the body, right? So what we're really talking about is when someone says embodiment, it's taking this third eye information, this amazing ability to collect data and information, and this heart which has a vibration of it, and connecting it to all of those pieces where there's deep remembering, and there's skill sets, and there's embodiments, where our feet are solidly on the ground and we have a foundation, and then we can sort of come up and we can start to shine. But we have to do that by being completely embodied, connected from head to toe. Third, God, everybody's been talking about presence, 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 right? What it really means is you don't go back into the past, and you aren't focused on living forward, planning, planning, planning. Where you are is you're present in the moment. You are actively doing the present in the moment. And this is the other card that I love of present in the moment. So on this one, wherever she is, she's experiencing and interacting with the environment together. In this one, no matter what, and I love this because this is more like the solar flares. There's waves, there's static, and all he's doing is focusing on one step after the other, right? So presence, it's to be in the moment. It's to say, I'm not gonna let my head go forward right now. I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna harness it back and I'm gonna stay present where I am, right? The other thing that I want to sort of show you is that when we're present, we trust. We just, wherever we are, I'm in the space in between. I don't have a clue where I'm going, but this is a pink cloud. It looks like it's going to be kind of cool. In this one, I'm in a river. It's going downstream. If I relax and go with it, it's a lot easier process, right? So presence really helps us with that, right? Um, Number 4, blend. Learn how to blend. My God, learn how to blend. Shift from either or, good or bad. I'm on this side, you're on that side, and go to the idea of blending, which is both and. Because our kids are doing it. Our kids are, a lot of the questions that we're having over school or not school isn't about wanting an education, it's the format. A lot of the discussion about binary decisions isn't about which one do I want to be, it's about I'm both all the time. We all are. Human beings are both. And so what happens is what we're looking at is blending. So this card does a beautiful job, which is this is me and this is you, or this is me and this is the world. And these are the colors in the middle where I blend and I become one with it. And this is the two of water, which is called friendship. So, we were talking, the twos are really good about how we partner with something else, right? So we can either be at odds with it or we can blend. So it's like, do you want to live in a world that looks like this, or do you want to live in a world that looks like this? Right? So step into leadership. Wow. Number 5, step into leadership, which is where you're holding both and at all times, and you avoid taking sides. And so this is a beautiful example of that. Here's 2 big, powerful sumo wrestlers that are, like they're supposed to be pretending like they hate each other, but they're looking at each other and they're touching their pinkies, which is, hey, we're the same. We're humans. I don't have to hate you. I don't have to decide that I'm in conflict with you. What I am doing is saying that we are both here and we're both the same. So whether it's in sports, whether it's in business arguments, or takeovers or whatever, whether it's in politics, it's about blending and saddling up in that nonpartisan, non-separation, and going towards compromise, going towards blending, going towards anything that gets you into both and. 6, the idea of the 4 agreements, no matter how many times I talk about, the 4 agreements are the simplest, easiest things on the surface and the most difficult to practice. So get the 4 agreements, study it. If you want to schedule a call with me and we go through them, I would love to do that. Because that's what I've been doing in my sessions, is bringing the 4 agreements in, which is always do your best. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personal and make no assumptions, right? Because if you are doing your best and if you are keeping your word and if you're not taking it personal and if you're not making any assumptions, I love this card because it really shows how 3 people are in complete trust of, hey, I'm going to do my very best. My word is that I'm going to catch you when you fall. And I'm not going to take any slip ups or anything personal, and I'm just going to make no assumptions that there's nothing. Make no assumptions that I'm not going to create something off by putting form into thought with my mind, which is where mastery is. So this is like, and I love the way that Osho describes this card, which is you can't afford to be even a little bit absent, right? And then 7, last one, and I know this is long and I apologize. Compassion. You're creating a new future. You're creating a place where the old world just doesn't exist anymore. And we're starting with a new world, right? So how do we create that differently? And so I'm going to end this with the Fool, which is he trusts that where he's going, he's going to land. It's going to be a great path. Look at the road and the journey ahead. And so compassion, always compassion for yourself and for others. So if you want more information, you can find it down below. Make sure you like and share this around. Pass it around, see if it works. Thank you so much. I'm really glad you're here, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.